For SI Sooners, allsooners.com, I'm John Hoover. Another football game with Iowa State, another nail-biter for Oklahoma. This one, a 37-30 Sooners loss at Jack Trice Stadium on Saturday night in Ames, Iowa. Believe it or not, this was Oklahoma's first loss in Ames since 1960. These games are always fantastic. In their 4 meetings head-to-head, Lincoln Riley and Matt Campbell are now 2-2, with the Cyclones holding a net 3-point advantage. For 18th ranked Oklahoma on Saturday night, it was just more of the same. An early lead, this time 17-6, followed by a defensive collapse, and ultimately the Sooners' demise was sealed with another poor fourth quarter performance in all 3 phases. Oklahoma took a 30-23 lead midway through the fourth quarter, but Kenny Nwangu's 85-yard kickoff return set up the Cyclones to tie the game at 30. And after Iowa State forced Oklahoma's high-scoring offense into a punt, the Cyclones scored the go-ahead touchdown with 4 minutes to play as running back Breece Hall gashed the Sooner defense repeatedly on that drive. OU had one more chance to tie the game, but for the second week in a row, Spencer Rattler's final pass was intercepted, this time in the end zone. Gabe Burkich did kick 3 field goals tonight. He missed his first of his career, a 54-yarder, at the end of the first half. But Riley said not being able to finish those drives with touchdowns rather than field goals was absolutely critical. The bottom line is, tonight this was a great Big 12 conference game, a great effort by a pretty good Iowa State team. But in all, another total collapse from Oklahoma on offense, on defense, and again, on special teams, just like last week against Kansas State. I asked Lincoln Riley if he was surprised by this phenomenon of wilting in the fourth quarter 2 weeks in a row now against Big 12 competition, or if this was to be expected with all the youth this team has up and down the roster. Riley said, quote, "I don't know exactly what it is," unquote. He acknowledged that, yes, having youth, young, inexperienced players at numerous positions up and down the roster was possibly a problem, but he also said that's no excuse and that this team has to grow. They're used to winning every time they take the field, he said. I thought that was huge. Iowa State scored points on 7 of its 9 possessions tonight with 1 punt and 1 fumble. I asked Alex Grinch how disappointed he was in giving up 31 points in the fourth quarter of the 2 Big 12 games this season, including 14-0 over the final 8 minutes tonight. Alex Grinch said, quote, "That's obviously an issue. It's a red flag waving in the wind," unquote. Breece Hall finished with 139 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing, and Brock Purdy threw for 254 yards and had 2 total TDs. For the second week in a row now, Oklahoma did not have a runner or a receiver go over 100 yards. I think that's another reflection on the youth on this team. Just like last week's game against Kansas State, I thought Spencer Rattler was fantastic most of the night, and he finished statistically 25 of 36 for 300 yards with 2 touchdowns plus his first career rushing TD. But needing a fourth quarter comeback tonight, Rattler hit just 4 of 7 passes for just 31 yards, got sacked, and threw the game-clinching interception. The Sooners now have 6 days to get their act together before the big showdown next week against Texas. The Longhorns also lost today, 33-31 to TCU, so both teams come into this Cotton Bowl off of a loss. First time that's happened since 2014. Kickoff is 11 a.m. in the Cotton Bowl, and you can catch the broadcast on Fox. For SI Sooners, allsooners.com, I'm John Hoover.